in theory, it could be a decent idea. But again, they come up with an idea that is good in some theory somewhere. But then when you add economics to it,
Yeah.
and, like money,
Yeah.
and the way the world works right now,
Yeah.
you can't do it. This episode of the Under the Table podcast is brought to you by Shrubs.me, your all-in-one digital hub. Share files, links, videos, and more from one beautiful customizable page. Picture a cross between Dropbox, Linktree, and Patreon. Get your free account with 2.5 gigabytes of cloud storage today at Shrubs.me. So
let's do simple math. Okay, I'm gonna build a sixplex. I'm gonna have six.
Well, hold on. Forget about that. The problem is that they
We're doing
limit
economics.
you. Yeah, but they limit you in the size of these things. Okay.
Okay.
They didn't just say you can build 6 units on the property. You still have to have like your setbacks. You still can't build the building more than a certain length. You can have a 300-foot deep property. You can still only build the thing 19 meters deep. Okay, or whatever the number is. I think it's 19.
Okay.
So you're limited in what you can actually do and put on there. So you're 6, and depending on your lot, also depend.
Yeah.
I don't even know what size these 6
two one bedroom units per floor. 6 one bedroom units. 3 stories, basement included.
Yeah, they're probably all one bedrooms. Yeah.
Okay. 600 square feet each. 3,600.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cost to build right now in this market, you're probably looking at 1.2, 1.3 million bucks.
Okay.
Okay. So now I've spent that. My land costs. What's the cheapest land I'm going to find in Toronto?
That you can put one of these things on? I don't know, $1 million.
$1 million bucks?
Yeah. 800,000 maybe somewhere in a really fucking shitty place.
Soft,
no one wants to live, especially cost. 6 people.
We got development charges on these or no? Or is it still under multiplexes?
That's another fuck up. No, after you hit 5 or something or 4, you got to start paying dev charges.
So you got development charges on a couple. You got some other soft costs. You're probably looking at somewhere in the ballpark of 2.6, 2.7 to just make it work at the end of the day.
To just get it built. Forget about making it work.
You can buy a sixplex right now, like an older sixplex, in some of the like good areas. There's one for sale right now on the beaches on Queen Street for 1.6. I got one for sale right now in Kingston Road, 1.7. And you can renovate them. And you're going to be, 2-bedroom mix, 3-bedroom mix, maybe.
But does it make money? Do you have to pay the whole thing in cash for it to make money?
Right now, those are all like, decent caps, like, good properties.
What's a decent cap on that? What, Kingston Road, 1.7, 6 units?
At 1.7, it's 4.8.
4.8 cap?
Yeah. Like real cap, with all the allowances put in, like, actually underwrote the right way. But,
better than a GIC.
Yeah. But, the owner's going to get, for 2.7, he's going to be faced, affordable units or, there's programs that you can apply for, so there might be something like that. So that if you want to do 20% units, you can do affordable. If you got CMHC involved, you might do affordability. Let's say you don't do that and you got the money,
then
and
you're
you
more
finance
fucked.
it. So you got market rents, which is no market control, which is what it is.
Yeah.
6-bedroom units. What are those going for? 1-bedroom unit.
Were you buying the land for $1 million?
$2,000.
$4 maximum a foot. Okay, let's say
$4 a foot. So we got 3,600 square feet. So 14
per
per unit.
2,400.
Yeah, so 14,400 for the 6 units.
So what's that?
14,400 for the 6 units, and then so you got 140, 170 gross. Somewhere around the $30,000 for costs. 140. What's my math on this? So you're like a 5 or a 6 cap, right? You're gonna be somewhere in that range, to build this out. When you can buy one right now,
then the rent's too high because there's no way that you're getting that there.
You're not getting a 5 or 6 cap there.
Maybe, I don't fucking know.
But you've gone through all that mess. Is there a margin? Does it make sense? Is it something that is going to be your dream property? I think where it makes sense for somebody, just like the multiplexes and the laneway suites and everything else, is I already own the land. I paid for it a long time ago. I'm bored. I don't want to move. But man, it would be great if I had a sixplex and then I could live in one of the units and still stay in the neighborhood that I want and just play landlord, play house.
You could take a bungalow and maybe
Yeah.
do an addition to it and add a bunch of units. That'd be
Yeah.
pretty cool.
A nice two-story house retrofitted out, but again, that's costly too. You don't even save that much money when you do that. By the time you actually change everything, you're barely using any of the old materials.
I
And then
think
the
that
guys who are doing all the work are like trying to make it fit and it becomes a pain.
there are the amount of money that I think you'd make after that's over a 2 year process between buying it, getting it developed, building
Yeah.
it, and renting it out. That's probably like a 3 year process for that little like project.
Yeah.
And like you could probably sit at home and do nothing. And over that same time period, end up with the same amount of money, right?
Doing
Just
what?
nothing. Like literally doing nothing.
So you make no money. Oh, and but if you try to sell the sixplex afterwards for 2.7, by the
Right?
way, which is assuming you sell it privately, there's no fees or anything whatsoever,
Yeah.
no one's gonna buy it from you.
And we didn't take into
Just so you
account
know,
like land
you're
transfer
underwater
tax,
on the value. You know what I mean?
land transfer
Although I
tax
got
and
soft costs in there and everything else.
fees and everything.
We grossed it up there a little
Did
bit.
we?
So yeah, does it make sense? No.
No chance it's going to.
Financially, it
Even if
doesn't
it
make sense.
does, it's
Someone will
like,
build it. Someone will build one.
but for, I don't know.
People lose money all the time in real estate. You're dummies.
Well, I mean, I was a dummy. I was a big dummy. And I
But you had a
mean,
market condition type of situation.
everybody was a dummy
What I'm
around
saying
me.
is people who are developing products because they're like, I got someone. I don't want to talk about it because I think he watches the show. But people try because it sounds cool to be a developer, and it sounds cool that now you could do a sixplex. You want to do one, and so a lot of people do this with the laneway suites. Oh,
Well,
I built a laneway suite and
it's
I
in,
am gonna build a laneway suite and my laneway suite is gonna be this and they learn all about it and they spend a year or two of their lives obsessing about it.
no, but this
And
is,
when they finally build it, they lost money.
so it's like a custom home, okay?
Yeah.
It's an entry point for a certain level of investor developer person, right? Because
Yeah.
nobody just goes out and buys like the Scarborough Junction on their first project, like Matt Young, right? Most people they go out, they buy a bungalow and they knock it down, they build a house, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they'll buy something, they'll build a few townhouses as their first project. But normally
Yeah.
it's like you go knock something down, you do a renovation or you build a house, right? And then you build your way up from there, right? But so you have all these people with less means and less experience that want to do something, and they saw this new opportunity coming in, right? With the laneway
Yeah.
houses and the guest suites and all these sixplexes, whatever plexes,
Yeah.
right? This is the most that they can handle at this point. And so, there's always this wave of these new people. And so at some point, that wave of new people will catch a time in space where they make money and they make sense, right? I
Yeah.
don't know when that is, right? It's not now, I don't think. Or maybe there's somebody who's figured it out. But at some point, like they drop the development charges, it's a whole new ballgame because now you just saved like $400,000. Now maybe that, I mean, out of 2.7, that's a nice chunk to make something maybe make sense.
Hmm.
Right? If they change the parameters within that you can build, right? Like if they change the envelope that you're allowed to build in and you can get maybe bigger suites and ask for more rent, right?
Hmm.
That changes the game a little bit, right? And then if interest rates come down, then maybe some of them are a little more affordable. But like forcing people to make affordable units now and fucking up their rent roll, that's not going to fix anything for fuck's sakes.
Yeah.
I don't think the trade-off is worth the CMHC financing, right?
It's the cost of construction, I think that is
Well, that'll
like
come
the
down too at
ultimate
some point.
hurdle. Like it's just the ultimate hurdle, you know? It's just like if you can't build for $150 a square foot, nothing makes sense,
So the ultimate
you know?
hurdle is
Yeah.
transitioning a market from having psycho gamblers at the helm to
Yes.
actual buyers at the helm, right?
Actually informed, educated, experienced, prudent buyers.
Because they're living
Yes.
there, right? Because
Yes.
they're going to move into the place and they spent
Yeah.
all their money to buy this thing and they want it to be whatever the hell they want it to be, right?
Yeah.
So transitioning from one to the other. I mean, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe something happens and all of a sudden everybody wants this garbage that's sitting around right now. But I got to think that, I mean, if the a target market, or the
Yep.
target buyer is somebody that actually wants to live here, then you kind of have to do things a certain way. You can't just be in a good location and have a space, right?
Hmm.
And then when there is more options available, then maybe you almost have to do something that makes them want to live here instead of there, other than just availability.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And so how does, I don't know how this plays out, because there's, for every person that thinks what I'm saying makes sense, there's a whole bunch of people that will tell me I'm a fucking moron. Eventually it's just going to get absorbed, which it will. But like, how long is that going to be realistically? Because now they're saying we have what, 20,000 units of pre-construction sitting there unsold, more coming on the market. It's going to turn into how many before something breaks and people start buying that shit again? And
Yeah.
or how long is
Yeah.
it
It's not getting
before,
better anytime soon.
well, how long does it take for all that shit to clear its way out while the land prices are also adjusting, or developers have figured out some weird magic formula that
Yeah.
people actually want to buy, right? Because
Yeah.
you also have, as part of this whole thing, the buyer expectation, right? Like they want stuff. You can't just build shit all the time and they're just going to take it. We see you can't just build anything and people will buy it, right? So,
Yep.
right. But I mean, I think people would buy it if they wanted to actually have it, right? If they went into it and they go, oh, I got to live here.
Yeah.
Like, right? That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I can afford it. I want to live here. I'm sick of living with Rakesh, Rajib, Rahem, and Felipe,
Paul.
right? And Paul.
And
Paul's
Paul.
driving us nuts here, right?
Yeah.
Fucking white guy thinks he owns the place, calls
Bossing us
himself the
around.
landlord, fucking asshole.
just because his name's on the title,
Owns the place,
just,
right? Thinks he
just
owns the
because
place.
we got to pay him rent and he took all the risk with the mortgage.
You're a fucking asshole.